Now let's talk about Drake, because the downfall is getting uglier by the minute. After the chaos around Iceman Episode 3, his so-called White Man album has been completely scrapped. That project won't be dropping anytime soon, and the streets are buzzing about it. But the mess didn't stop there. Fresh Young Thug phone calls leaked, and they straight up put Drake on blast. Thug didn't hold back. He flat out called Drake stupid and spilled details that could leave fans hating him forever. This isn't just bad press, this is career-killing dirt. Drake's now finding himself cornered, rejected left and right, forced to retreat from everything he tried to build. His Iceman persona melted, his empire crumbling. It's getting harder to deny that this man is trapped in the biggest scandal of his career. Episode 3 is being remembered as a straight-up disaster, a monstrous flop that exposed every weakness he's been trying to hide. And because of that, Drake is stuck in a spot where there's no way out. Ruined on both sides, plain and simple. The truth is crystal clear now. His recent releases can't save him, and the new information leaking out keeps proving he's not the king he pretended to be. Fans aren't just bored. They're done with his music altogether. For the first time ever, people are realizing Drake might have nothing left to offer, and this is only the beginning of the fallout. Drake just got exposed in the rawest way possible, stripped down 100%, and revealed for what he really is. Not just a bad friend, but one of the worst types of people to have in your circle. And this isn't just coming from critics like Joe Budden or rivals like Kendrick Lamar anymore. Nope, this one hits different, because now, the same man Drake has always defended like family, the one he's acted tight with through everything, has turned around and called him out. That's right, Young Thug. And the timing couldn't be worse. Thug's been drowning in his own scandals lately, his reputation shredded by wild leaks and non-stop drama. Normally, people wouldn't rush to take his side, but even with all of that, there's one clear thread running through every leaked call. He never bad-mouthed Metro Boomin. That loyalty to Metro stands tall, while Drake, he didn't get the same respect. In one of the leaked calls, Thug opened up about the messy roots of the Kendrick verses, Drake beef, and the whole We Don't Trust You album with Metro and Future. And let's be real, this wasn't just gossip from haters. This came from someone who's been considered neutral, maybe even a little pro-Drake at times. But what did Thug say? Straight up, he called Drake's actions stupid. No sugarcoating, no soft landing, just flat out stupid. And that right there blows a hole through Drake's entire image. Because when the guy you've been backing like a brother finally decides to flip on you, that's not just smoke. That's a full-on fire. This leak is so brutal for Drake that once people really understand the reason behind his moves, it could finish him off for good. The kind of career-ending damage that spreads like wildfire through the industry, and honestly, the dominoes are already falling. Now, the full call runs about 27 minutes, and yeah, a lot of it is filler that wouldn't keep anyone's attention. But here's the real meat of it. Young Thug was being updated on all the messy drama between Drake and Metro Boomin. This dates back to 2022, right before her loss dropped. Then, just months later, Metro released Heroes and Villains. The key track in question, Trance. And fans remember, that track once had a leaked Drake verse floating around. Here's where it gets wild. Word is, Drake was panicking, scrambling at the last second, trying to secure a Metro beat or a clearance for that song. He was desperate to pull off a collab with Young Thug and Travis Scott on her loss, using Metro's work to make it happen. But when Thug heard the way Drake was moving, he was disgusted. You can hear it in his tone, his pure disbelief. Thug couldn't believe Drake was being that cold, that desperate, and yes, that stupid. He literally used the word stupid to describe it. That reaction says everything. It peels back the curtain on why the beef with Kendrick spiraled, why Metro and Drake split, and why Drake's string of choices may go down as some of the biggest mistakes in modern hip-hop history. What really hit hard in this leak was the moment Young Thug went straight at Drake's character. Thug said, "I don't know how anyone can even talk to him about music right now. Your mom is gone, she's never coming back, he's not in the right headspace, and you're still out here telling Drake, I don't like that, I ain't clearing it." That was cold and raw. Then Thug doubled down with another dagger, saying, "Drake's so stupid. Instead of giving wisdom or something real, he's about to say some wild stuff on the phone." Then 2-3 weeks later, he's begging, "Hey, let me get the song." That's not just shady, that's humiliating. Thug even admitted that if he could, he'd be with Metro Boomin all the time, making sure his friend was good after such a painful loss. That shows you everything: the loyalty, the compassion, the respect. And then on the other side, Drake looking heartless and selfish. This paints Drake in the worst light possible, a man being called out for his total lack of empathy during one of life's hardest tragedies, the loss of a mother. That's not just music politics anymore, that's personal. And honestly, when you see someone act like that, it makes you question their soul. Most of us hear this and instantly think, this dude is not like us, because if you can align yourself with someone who shows zero compassion, zero support, and zero humanity in a moment like that, then you're aligning with the worst type of person to be around. And when that call is coming from someone rappers view as a voice of reason, it's not just bad for Drake, it's downright embarrassing for his whole image. So here's the truth, Joe Budden wasn't lying about Drake at all. Everything he tried to warn us about is now confirmed, and the most painful part? The fact that Drake seemed to care more about locking down a beat than respecting somebody's mother who had just passed. That's the kind of detail you can't spin, you can't deny. It's out there now, and Young Thug just put the stamp of approval on it as fact. This is devastating for Drake, because once something like this is made public, there's no crawling back. Sure, Thug has his own mess right now, but that doesn't change the weight of what he revealed. For the crew that once circled around Metro Boomin, and from Future to Travis Scott, it's clear why doors slammed shut on Drake. This is the why behind the silence, the reason collaborations dried up. And the bigger fallout? Drake isn't just exposed as someone fake, he's seen as toxic. No artist with respect for Metro or for themselves is gonna risk being tied to him now. Unless you're desperate for clout, why would anyone share a studio with a man branded this heartless? The stain is too big, the shame too heavy. For Future, Travis, Thug, and anyone else in Metro's circle, the choice is obvious. Protect the bond with Metro, keep the loyalty tight, and freeze Drake out. Because right now, Metro's value and respect tower over anything Drake could possibly bring to the table, and that leaves Drake in a dangerous spot, isolated, unwanted, and branded for what he really is. Andy's loyalty shines brighter, and that's exactly what makes this blow up so much worse for Drake. Because while he's out here struggling to put together even halfway decent music, he's also begging behind the scenes for anyone to give him a hit. But the truth is catching up fast. This is the full circle moment that could destroy whatever little hope his next album had left. Rick Ross has even started mocking him, calling him white man. And honestly, when you break it all down, the fallout from these leaked calls, the messy snippets, and those bizarre Pinocchio-style fan film fantasies Drake's been pushing, it's turned into the single biggest disaster of his career. Maybe even worse than the lawsuits, worse than the so-called Karen paperwork. That's how bad it is. Because here's the nightmare for Drake. This isn't just another beef, this is the one thing he fears most. He dropped an hour-and-a-half project that turned out to be nothing but a boring, hollow, wasted block of time. People weren't outraged. They weren't even laughing at him anymore. They just tuned out. Fans fell asleep trying to get through it, and that silence is the worst reaction of all. Think about it. Once upon a time, even Drake's negative attention kept him alive in the culture. Love him or hate him, people were at least reacting. But now, the public's not even bothering to clown him. They're walking away faster than ever, and that's something his influencer-style career was never built to handle. For a man who's relied on attention, good or bad, to feed his game, this kind of total indifference is more dangerous than any diss track could ever be. What's crystal clear right now is that the demand for Drake has completely collapsed. People mocked the scraps of new music he played, laughed for a second, and then moved on without caring. That silence says everything. The hype is dead, the interest is gone. And if Drake dares to drop a lead single or a whole album at this moment, the outcome is obvious. Triple wood sales. Just like Pinocchio, Iceman is nothing but wood, and Drake's numbers would prove it. And I'm dead serious about this. This is exactly why he avoided dropping any fresh material in Iceman Episode 3. Instead, he recycled an old track and slapped a part 2 on it. That strategy wasn't a rollout. It was damage control. Because he knows if he releases anything major right now, the flop would be so loud, it would make his last flop look like a win in comparison. This is the nightmare Drake has boxed himself into. The entire Iceman rollout was supposed to be a universe, a build-up, a spectacle of singles leading into an album. But what we actually got? Mid-tier filler, copy and paste songs, weak Pinocchio concepts, and lazy recycling of the same tired sound. Fans aren't fooled anymore. They see it for what it is. Whether you're a Drake stan or one of his biggest haters, the truth is the same. The Iceman project is crumbling in real time. The music isn't sticking, the gimmicks aren't working, and the audience is finally walking away. And the way Drake's reacting to all this, it's showing us exactly how far he's fallen from the throne he once claimed. At this point, it's more obvious than ever. Drake is pushing this album back as far as humanly possible. And honestly, don't be shocked if it never drops at all. Because the way things are looking, if he puts this record out anytime soon, it could mark the absolute rock bottom of his career. And I'm not just talking about the quality, though let's be real, it's probably mid at best. I'm talking about the numbers. Drake has built his entire empire on attention and metrics, not artistry. He plays the influencer game, not the musician's game. And for a man obsessed with sales and streaming stats, dropping Iceman now would be career suicide. Even when you look back at For All the Dogs Scary Hours edition, the reception wasn't amazing, but at least people tuned in. Fans were curious because Drake hadn't dropped in almost 2 years, and there was still that question. What does new Drake sound like? That curiosity bought him a little time. But now, nobody's curious anymore. The songs he's previewed have been flat, lifeless, mid to the core. The hype is gone, the excitement is dead. And here's the wildest part. Even that already disappointing project, the one critics called a flop from day one, now looks more viable than anything Drake could drop under the Iceman banner. That's how low things have sunk. The album he treated like an afterthought, the one people clowned as weak when it first landed, suddenly feels stronger than the mess he's preparing now. And if that's not the clearest sign of a fallen giant, I don't know what is. If you really think that part 2 wasn't dropped just so Drake could run back to his last album era for support, you're fooling yourself. That old project is giving him more life than Iceman ever could, and Drake knows it. The problem is, even he's starting to realize how deep this hole is getting, and if he keeps spiraling down this path, his reputation might never recover. With all the context we've got now, one thing is basically confirmed. Iceman isn't dropping anytime soon, and if you want proof, just look at the release calendar. The next few weeks are stacked, and if Drake dares to drop in that window, it could mark the ugliest flop of his entire career. Here's why. Doja Cat's got a brand new record coming September 26th, and that alone would outshine anything Drake puts out right now. But even bigger? Cardi B's long-awaited sophomore album is landing on September 19th, and the label is pumping serious money, energy, and power into this rollout. The industry's betting big on Cardi, and Drake doesn't stand a chance going head-to-head with her. And that's the reality. No matter how you personally feel about Cardi or Doja, both of those projects are guaranteed to pull more attention than a tired, ice-cold Drake rollout. If Iceman even tried to compete, it wouldn't just flop, it would melt into one of the worst disasters of the year. Drake knows this, the labels know this, and now the fans see it too, which is why that album is getting pushed further and further back into oblivion. Just look at the rollout behind Cardi B, the physicals, the marketing, the push from Atlantic Records. It's insane. They've been waiting years for this moment, and the machine is moving at full speed. Even if Cardi's album ends up being mid, the label will make sure it dominates. Drake's recycled copy and paste tracks won't stand a chance against a rollout of this scale. Now, with both Cardi and Doja dropping in September, that alone already shuts Drake out of one of the last big windows of the year. But the real nightmare, the storm that's coming right after, Taylor Swift. On October 3rd, Taylor is set to unleash her next record, and Drake has no chance competing with that juggernaut, even if he somehow pulled off the best album of his career. This isn't just a release, this is a cultural event. The entire music industry, the NFL, and countless corporate partners are all lined up to push Taylor's album into history. The numbers are going to be mind-blowing. Millions of vinyls and CDs already pressed, ready to ship, ready to flood stores worldwide, and that's before we even get to the streaming domination that's guaranteed to follow. Taylor's release isn't just about music, it's about breaking records, setting milestones, and generating billions in value for everyone tied to it. And when the industry sets the stage like that, no one else matters, especially not Drake, who's sitting on an album rollout that feels colder and weaker by the day. Next to Taylor's monumental drop, Iceman looks like a puddle ready to evaporate. There was a time when Drake actually thought he could go head-to-head with Taylor Swift during her album cycles, back when his label still had his back. But that era is over. Right now, the label is locked in on Taylor, ready to deliver a first week that will move literal millions of units, and not just for 1 week. She could dominate for 2 straight weeks with ease. And here's the brutal reality. Even if Drake waits a month after Taylor drops, her numbers will dwarf his so badly he'll look like an underground rapper by comparison. That's how wide the gap is now. And with the industry shutting down in November, then going quiet in December, the clock is against him. The Iceman rollout has nowhere to go, no safe landing spot, no shot at survival. So what's left? Drake is backed into a corner with one option: Push the album back as far as possible, maybe cancel it outright, because if he dares to drop right now, the humiliation would be career-defining. Remember, his first album this year already flopped with all-time low numbers, even when fans were actually more excited for it than they are now. That failure set the tone, and he hasn't recovered since. Drake has run out of tricks. Every move, every stunt, every rushed microwave comeback has blown up in his face. For nearly 500 days, he's refused to step out of the spotlight, flooding the market, never letting the public miss him, and now he's paying the ultimate price. Overexposure, desperation, and weak music have dragged him into this freefall. And let's be real, for everyone watching, the only shock is how long it took to finally happen. Drake's been running the same tired games ever since the beef ended, but now the cracks are showing. People are simply over it. The antics aren't working anymore, and after one of the messiest, most embarrassing rollouts we've ever seen with Iceman, whatever hype he thought he was building has evaporated into thin air. He's lost control, he's lost momentum, and honestly, his career has never looked worse. This is a true back against the wall moment. Iceman isn't just another album. It's the most important release of Drake's entire career. The stakes aren't just about first-week numbers anymore. This project will decide his legacy, his reputation, and whether he even has a real future in the industry. That's how high the pressure is right now. Behind the scenes, you can bet Drake and his entire team are scrambling like never before. Every trick they've tried has failed, every rollout has backfired, and this crash out is forcing him to face a brutal truth. He might actually need to go back to the drawing board. But let's be real, Drake's idea of reinvention has always been chasing new trends and faking clout to stay relevant. If that's all he's got left, then this isn't a comeback story. It's a countdown to collapse, because the writing's on the wall. This whole Iceman experiment has done nothing but show the world that the album is destined to flop. Drake has only two paths left: drop the record and watch it crash harder than anything he's ever done, or run away and bury it for as long as possible. Either way, his empire is melting, and the fall-off is impossible to ignore. At this stage, the choice Drake's making is crystal clear, and that says everything. Even by his own delusional standards, it's shocking to watch him duck responsibility while the walls close in. So don't be surprised when you keep seeing him post duck faces and pull off more cringe antics online, all while the rest of the industry gears up for a stacked Q4 filled with real albums, big milestones, and major wins. As artists drop projects that dominate charts and cement their legacies, Drake will be out there hiding, avoiding any release that could prove in black and white numbers just how steep his downfall has become. And we're not talking a small slip. This is shaping up to be the worst collapse not just in rap, but maybe in the history of music and even media itself. The biggest artist in the world now looks like he's running scared, terrified of the numbers exposing him for what he's become, and when you tie it all together, the picture is even darker. The embarrassing Iceman streams, the humiliating industry freeze-out, Young Thug calling him stupid on a leaked call, and the brutal truth that fans have finally accepted, it's all connected. And the domino effect started with one moment that exposed his true character, Drake showing zero respect for a man's mother who passed away. From that heartless misstep, the entire collapse snowballed into what we're witnessing today, the near-complete destruction of Drake's empire. So tell me, why would anyone even feel bad for Drake at this point? After everything that's come out, after all the antics, the leaks, and the embarrassing Iceman collapse, he's brought this downfall on himself. Now I want to hear from you. What do you think about this entire meltdown? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And hey, if you've made it all the way to this part of the video, don't forget, channel memberships are officially live. By joining, you'll unlock exclusive videos, access private communities, and even get your name locked in at the end of every video as an executive producer. That's right, you'll literally be part of the team pushing this channel forward. So smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and share this video with your crew so nobody misses out on the chaos. Trust me, it helps more than you know. And if you're ready for even more, check out the last breakdown where we expose how Iceman Episode 3 completely shattered Drake's fan base and forced him to cancel this album. Things have never looked darker for him, and the next twist is only getting closer. See you on the next one.